Oh, no, Florida Maki. Breaking news alert. Haven't you heard what's happened up in New York in the Democratic primary for governor? This Muslim socialist named Zohran Mamdani has defeated Andrew Cuomo, and this is going to cause a mass flight of people to crush into Florida, and it's going to get even worse. You see, folks, when most people are stupid, democracy is a dumb idea. Now, that's not a quote from anybody, that's just me. When most people are stupid, democracy is a dumb idea. That's why for the vast majority of history, society, polite, civilized society, has not been run by mob rule. It hasn't been run by democracy. You see, they're not telling you the details, and the devil is always in the details. What if I told you that this was actually evidence of New York moving farther, to the right? Florida Maki, that can't possibly be. The guy won. He beat Cuomo. In New York, amongst Democrats, a ham sandwich, as long as it was a ham sandwich of color, would beat the old white man. You remember the old white man who killed grandma, the old white man who seems to have some issue getting handsy with females, apparently. I'm not sure about the details of it. Anybody in the Democrat Party in New York would beat the old white man. Because that's all they see. You could have stood up any gay person. I don't care who they are, man, woman, young, old, black, white, Indian, wouldn't matter. Any gay person, any person of color, any person under the age of 40, they would have beaten Cuomo. Why? The devil is in the details. They do something in New York that they don't do anywhere else. It's called ranked choice voting. I shouldn't say they don't do anywhere else, but it's rare. Basically, the guy on the left won with a bunch of second place votes. And once again, remember, people in America no longer vote based on qualification. They vote based on social identity. Who is most like me? And nobody wants to be like the old white man. There are no old white men, at least not very many left in New York, especially in Manhattan, that are interested in voting. They've been outnumbered for a long time. Now, as if that wasn't the worst story out there, this one might be the second worst. Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, is now being asked to not be part of intelligence briefings. Yes, that's right. The super genius on the left, the other old white man, has asked his own Director of National Intelligence to not be part of intelligence briefings because she had the audacity to look at the intelligence in front of her, having spent her entire life in the intelligence field, and said, Mr. President, your assertion about Iran might not be up to snuff, might not be what it's being made out to be. You see, she made the allegation that Iran perhaps wasn't nearly as far down the road toward a nuclear weapon as the president thought. And you see, with that being out there on the table and being released right after the strike on Iran, it would make it seem like, well, the president bombed another giant empty hole like he did over in Yemen. Or pardon me, not Yemen. In Somalia. You remember we did a video about a week or two ago about the largest wartime aerial naval operation in history as far as ordnance goes, and they did virtually no damage. As far as tonnage goes, it was about a month or so ago that they came out and said, it was last January, that the largest bomb drop ever in the history of the Navy, history of the military ever occurred as far as tonnage in Somalia, and they didn't hardly hit anything. That's what happens when you bomb sand. Now, Florida Maki, it was total obliteration. We have proof. I'm going to show you where they're going to use words to manipulate you. It's a form of psychological operation. If you'd like to join us to get the details, the nuts and the bolts of psychological operations, love to have you, Florida Maki Patreon channel. Next 24 to 48 hours, we're going to be putting up a video, and I'm going to warn you right off the bat, it's going to be R-rated. It's going to be NC-17. There's going to be images in there that you're probably going to protest at. But that's why we're over there. If you'd like to join over there, this next video is going to be for everybody. All 4 levels, 2, 5, 10, 15, foot soldiers, need to know round table, unit and brigade commanders, everybody in the room for this one. Because it's going to show something. It's going to show 4 or 5 different psychological operations all working in harmony to keep you from seeing the real truth. Now, the best part is if it's not for you, or if it's over your head, or you're just not interested, if you give it a shot, fully refundable first 90 days, no questions asked. It would be almost the beginning of October before you would have to make a decision and lose any money. That's how far 90 days is from now. July, August, September, yeah. Because we're almost coming in right here at the beginning of July. So let's get right to it. Trump lays blame. Oh, they changed it. Son of a gun. Well, Trump had laid blame. That was going to be the, let's X this out here. Trump had laid blame for the leaks about what did or did not happen in Iran on Tulsi Gabbard. Because the leaks didn't go along with the story he had already cooked up and was going to put out regardless of what happened. Here we go. Top U.S. military officer says operation went as planned, but briefing did not include new intelligence to back Trump's claim that nuclear program, pay attention here, giant air quotes, nuclear air program was, small quotes, obliterated. You see, here's all of Iran's primary nuclear facilities. Here's all of them. The ones that are the yellow and black, those are civilian nuclear sites. Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan were the 3 that were hit. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 others that were not hit. See these up in red? Banab, Tehran, Ramsar? Research reactors, not even touched. Parchin, a military site, not even touched. These in green, uranium mines, Sagand, Nargan, Gachin, not even touched. You see, these are the only 3 of those hit. So to say that the quote-unquote nuclear program, giant air quotes, was obliterated is just not a complete statement. The things that were targeted might have been to some extent, but you have to remember something. There are 3 parts to any nuclear program. 3 parts. Take notes here if you have to. The first part is developing fissile materials, refining uranium to the point where it can be used as a weapon. That's only stage 1. It's the most difficult, but once you have that, you need to do 2 different things. After that, you need to develop a warhead, a delivery system, and that can be a bomb that goes into a plane. It can be a giant crate that goes into a ship that gets shipped off to somebody's port, or it can go on the end of a missile, and it's that last one that's tough. To develop a warhead where your new fissile material and bomb machine can be put on the tip of a missile. This is a problem for a lot of places. They have a lot of different countries have gotten their hands on different levels of fissile material, but to create the actual warhead takes another discipline of science. Let's put it that way. Another discipline. So that's discipline number 2. Discipline number 3, one more example here. The North Koreans have really crap fissile material, but they do have delivery systems. They have missile delivery systems, but they have terrible warheads. So fissile material, crap. Warheads, crap. Missiles, very good. They have missiles that can reach almost all the way to San Francisco. The Russians have them that can reach space and can circle the planet and can then drop wherever they want to. So the delivery system, the warhead, and the fissile material. Now, to put everything in perspective, us versus Iran. I was born in 1970, and since before I was born, the U.S. has had the ability to put any type of nuclear warhead they want to, on any type of delivery system they want, and literally throw a dart at the map and put it there. This is incredibly, for the United States and Russia, very old technology. What the Iranians are attempting to do now, what the North Koreans are attempting to do now, is a very, very old technology for the United States. Decades and decades old. We can put it on a plane. We can put it on a B-2 if we wanted to. We could sail it off on a ship. We could launch it from a ship. We can launch it from a submarine. We can launch it from underground facilities like we have out west. No longer a challenge. No longer a challenge for us. So when they say totally obliterated, which part of the program? There's talk that the fissile material was vented from Iran. Pardon me. Vented from Iran ahead of time. So they may not have any fissile material, but they still might have the missiles. They might have the warheads. It's just very hard to say. Now, this thing with Zoran Mandami, this ranked choice voting system, this guy who's going to flip New York to, is just baloney. It's total crap. It's total baloney. And here were all of the predictions. Here's what's going to happen if Mamdani wins. He'll introduce state-run grocery stores, wage controls, rent controls. Wealthy New Yorkers will flee. Mamdani will point out that they all have Jewish last names and blame the Jews. What if their state-run grocery stores, wage controls, and rent controls do or don't work? We see there's people that both live in Florida and they have property both places. But here's where you got to pay attention, folks. Democrats, and this is the Babylon Bee, they accidentally did some reporting. See, a lot of people aren't going to remember this. Democrats discover innovative strategy of promising free stuff to stupid people. And I'm sure there's a lot of Trump supporters and capitalists out there laughing. Oh, that's right. They don't know it. Fails every time it's tried. Really, promising free stuff to stupid people. Gosh, that rings a bell. Oh, that's right. Doge dividend checks. You remember when, what was it, Big Balls or whatever his name is, or Hung Nuts or whatever his name was, Giant Package, and Elon and all these people and Donald Trump, they were going to go in and clean house of trillions in waste. And then they were going to take the money, this giant pile of money, and they're going to start cutting checks back to the real Americans, and he was going to pay us back. Yeah. Elon Musk considers sending all Americans $5,000 checks, free stuff to stupid people. Socialism 101. $5,000 checks using Doge savings. It was going to be a big boost for seniors. Whatever happened to that? That's right. Free stuff to stupid people. I mean, forget that the world's richest 1% could end poverty 22 times over. The world's wealthiest have seen their fortunes increase by $33.9 trillion over the last decade. The top 3,000 billionaires, the top 3,000 billionaires have collectively increased their wealth by $6.5 trillion over the past decade, bringing their total net worth, 3,000 people net worth to 14.6 of global GDP. That's unreal. More GDP than half of the countries in the world. It's just incredible. And 1429, this is probably where we're going to get to the R-rated stuff, and I don't want to, of course, offend anyone, because we can't offend anyone anymore, right? This is an old Calvin and Hobbes strip that I thought was very appropriate for these days. Calvin, of course, sitting at his box where he's going to provide services that are badly needed to everyone that he knows. A swift kick in the butt for $1. And then his friend Hobbes come along and he says, boy, business is terrible. And he's like, well, that's hard to believe. He can't understand it. Everybody needs what he's selling. Everybody needs what he's selling, yet for $1, he can't sell a swift kick in the butt. One final thing on Zorhan Mandami or whatever, Zornan or whoever he is. How it's going to be the end of the world as we know it. Florida voted for Obama twice. Then we had 4 years of Trump. And then we had 4 years of Biden and a California liberal, Kamala Harris. Shouldn't that have been the end of the world? Shouldn't that have been the end of the world? I mean, 12 years of that, only 4 years of Trump. Yet the country is now farther to the right than it has ever been. The country is now, at this point, farther to the right than it has ever been. Trust me when I tell you that this is evidence of New York shifting to the right. Anybody in ranked choice voting would have beaten the old white man. You make the mistake in believing that people voted by using their brains. They don't. They use their feelings. They use their emotions. They want to be part of the crowd. They want to say they were part of the big win. And boy, the Democrats, especially the last year or two, really want to feel like they've done something that brought them in for the big win. So knowing that the old white man couldn't beat anybody in New York, it doesn't matter if it was Cuomo. Any old white man would have lost to any of color minority. Literally anybody who wasn't white. Perhaps a gay white woman would have definitely won. That would have been my only exception for white, but that would have probably been a barn burner because they hate white people so much. So they could have put up anybody. For those who don't know what ranked choice voting is let's say they got 5 or 6 people running. If nobody gets 50% of the win, nobody gets 50% of the vote, pardon me, they take the last place person, they wipe them out, but here's the key, they reassign those votes to whoever the second, you get to vote for not just one person. You say, okay, here's who I want first, here's who I want second, here's who I want third, here's who I want fourth. Now let's say that your number one vote was the guy who got last. Well, they look, okay, who was your second place vote? Okay, then that's who they assign that vote to. So this guy, this Zamdani or whatever his name is, Zandami or whatever, he was the beneficiary of a bunch of second place votes. Simply because people had their one choice, and then it's like, well, we gotta make sure that we are inclusive. We have to be inclusive now. It's ridiculous. Absolutely insane. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, I thought it's 5 minutes ago that people were just celebrating and so happy about Tulsi Gabbard and leaving the Democrat Party and being an independent. And, that was what's going to be. And now we got Kennedy out there saying that he wants everybody the next 4 years to be wearing some type of medical tracking device. How many of you saw that? RFK Jr. saying that he wants in the next 4 years everybody wearing a trackable device. The list just goes on and on and on and on and on. But yet, we can't talk about the rest of this stuff because it's rated R. So, we will leave it there. President of the United States asking his own director of national intelligence to not be part of intelligence briefings when it comes to Iran. Wonderful. Outstanding. PsyOps 101. Folks, join us. Learning about PsyOps is critical. I know people think they understand them. They really don't. We talk about the nuts and bolts. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.